the farmer of the Arctic Circle. In a small, remote village in the Arctic Circle, a community of Sami people faced a dire threat to their traditional way of life. The permafrost, the frozen ground they had relied on for generations, was beginning to thaw at an alarming rate. Their traditional foods were becoming scarce, and the reindeer, central to their culture, were struggling to find sustenance beneath the melting ice. The village was losing hope, feeling powerless against the changes sweeping their land. Among them was a young woman named Elina. She was a reindeer herder by trade, but she had a deep fascination with botany, a subject that seemed entirely out of place in their frozen landscape. She watched as her grandmother, the village's elder and knowledge keeper, grew more and more frail with each passing season. "The land is losing its memory," her grandmother would say. Elina refused to accept this fate. Inspired by an old story about a mythical garden that grew in the land of the midnight sun, she began an experiment. She collected seeds from hardy cold-weather plants, ancient grains and root vegetables, and began to plant them in a small, sheltered patch of ground near her family's hut. She knew the permafrost was thawing, but she also knew that a new, more fertile layer of soil was emerging. Her project was met with skepticism. "You can't farm ice," the villagers would say. "The land is for the reindeer, not for plants." Elina persevered. She used her traditional knowledge of the land, building small, insulated enclosures from moss and salvaged wood to protect her seedlings from the harsh winds. She learned to use the 24-hour summer sun to her advantage, and she carefully tended to her small, experimental garden. Slowly, against all odds, her plants began to grow. First, a few shoots of barley, then a handful of stubborn potatoes. Her small garden, once a curiosity, became a symbol of defiance and hope. When the harvest came, she had enough to share with the entire village. The sight of fresh, homegrown food in a land of snow was a powerful message. It wasn't just food, it was proof that they could adapt. Elina's success sparked a revolution. The villagers, seeing her harvest, began to plant their own small gardens. They used their traditional skills to build greenhouses from old fishing nets and driftwood, and they started to cultivate a new way of life that blended their ancient traditions with a new, resilient future. Elina, the farmer of the Arctic Circle, had not just grown a garden. She had sown the seeds of hope, reminding her community that even when the land changes, their spirit can adapt and bloom.